It's official. David Reinbacher is making his season debut for the Laval Rocket, and this has big implications, not only for the Laval Rockets playoff push, but for the Montreal Canadiens going forward. We'll dive into Laval's upcoming schedule, what this means for Reinbacher, and much more, but we also got to talk about recent rumors coming from The Athletic and TSN, talking about David Savard trades once again with multiple places saying that the Leafs are a likely landing spot. And we got that plus a Marty St. Louis quote about Patrik Laine, all that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. But guys, haven't done this in a while. We are pushing 20,000 subscribers. That is, you guys know, that's a huge milestone for us. So if you could just check down below, it's completely free. See if you're subscribed, because if you're not and you like these daily videos about news, rumors, reports, everything like that surrounding the Montreal Canadiens, this is your spot to be. Jesse, let's dive into the video, and I want to start with Marty St. Louis' quote. Now, some people were saying Laine took a jab at him. Like we said on the show, I don't think that's what it was when he was saying he wasn't getting playing time. Laine was very self-critical in that as well. But Marty was asked about it just recently, and here's what he had to say. He said, if you play 11 minutes, prove to me that you can play more. My job is to push Patty. And to be honest, Jesse, I kind of love this take. I love this from Marty. Again, I don't think he took it as a jab from Patty Laine. I don't think we did either. But it's cool to see, like, Marty saying, like, there are going to be some adjustments coming for the second half of the season. Guys are going to have to earn their keep in the lineup. Times are gone where making a mistake will just get you, it's kind of okay. We're still learning. He's battening down the hatches. He's getting ready to tell these guys, look, play up to the level you can play at or don't play at all. And I kind of love this.
For sure. And you know what? Patrik Laine set himself up for a very good end of the season here. The underlying numbers show that he's going to go on a streak. So that's just my own personal opinion. I feel like he's going to end off the season hot. And you know what? I like him taking accountability, Patrik Laine, in this conversation. I think that that's the one missing factor. Like, the skill is there. If kind of that ownership is there in that mental side of the game, then that's the complete package. Mm-hmm. And Josh, like, I'm okay with these type of conversations because it's the type of talks that push the needle forward for the Montreal Canadiens, not just for Patrik Laine, but the team as a whole. And to really give a context on this, like, 18 points, 12 goals, and 6 assists in 28 games for Patrik Laine after coming off a major, devastating injury is not bad. He's ahead of schedule. The production's not bad, but we know he's capable of a little bit more. And I'm here for this conversation. And I just want to see if Martin St. Louis, like, where is he going to direct that? Because there's that accountability, but we want it from some other players as well, even some leaders. And again, we don't want to throw shade. Like, we love Matheson, but we also want that accountability. We love it that Martin St. Louis is doing it, but we want him to put that focus where it's really needed the most on this team at all times. You have to feel like he is aware of that, and he kind of knows how to push those buttons in the right way. But it'll be an interesting theme going forward for this team.
For sure. And hey, like, the Habs are still not out of the playoff picture or anything. Like, maybe it's not as likely as it was 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, but it's still not impossible. And going down the rest of the way, he's going to be locked in, just like you said, on not only Patty, but these other guys. And hey, Patty's been getting good praise too, like from Alexander Barkov, even the Finnish coach saying he was pretty good, which is basically saying someone is, the best of the best in Finnish speak, right? The Finnish people are very modest. So right now I'm excited to see how Patty Laine comes back, how the rest of the team comes back. I just can't wait to watch Montreal play hockey again, Jesse. But before they even play, there's still a lot of talk that trades could go down before Montreal ends up playing just 3 days from now. And look, we've talked a lot about trades, so we'll keep this one not super in-depth, but there have been people talking about David Savard more recently. Now, with Frankie Corrado coming out and saying he doesn't even think Savard will get moved, but we have The Athletic going in talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs, Jonas Siegel saying why it's time for the Leafs to make another splash. Him saying the Leafs might even want to think bigger and bolder than that. Do they consider, say, Colton Parayko? Or maybe a guy like Luke Schenn or David Savard as a shorter-term need on defense. And David Savard, Jesse, this has been repeated. TSN talked about this as well. This one comes from The Athletic. I'll link the article down below if you're interested in the Leafs article. Go give them the credit anyway. We're referencing their article in this video. But again, Savard, one of those guys, look, again, I feel like we talk about the Maple Leafs being in trade talks. We've talked about it with Jake Evans. Objectively, these kind of trades do fit for the Leafs. But I'm just going to straight up say this, like, this isn't going to happen. This is my opinion on the show. Like, David Savard, if he's getting moved, it's not to the Leafs. Number one, because, again, I don't think the package might even be enough for Montreal to move on from him, like we discussed in yesterday's video. But number two, if he's going to the Leafs, you're charging a premium. So even then, like, unless they're really desperate, though, I just don't think it's going to happen. But again, you never know. When teams get desperate and they see the market is short, like you point out before, like, you never really know what they might offer.
It makes sense for them in a lot of ways because they know they're getting into their time. A lot of their stars are getting into their 20s. We've seen a lot of the recent Stanley Cup winners. They're making a lot of noise at that trade deadline there. But again, there's going to be that Toronto tax. Like David Savard would fit a lot of what they need. But again, the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking to kind of fix their core issues of toughness really on the peripheries, because that's what David Savard would be bringing, when really it's a more of a fundamental core issue of those players kind of showing up. We know David Savard, come playing time, playoff time, is going to be there. But he isn't that difference maker. He's not getting that ice time to affect the game like you need that core to be. So again, it's a little bit of a case, if the Leafs looking to slap some lipstick, on a pig and call her Betsy a little bit, but we'll see if they can maybe figure it out at some point. I think that the problem is a little bit more intrinsic at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are some problems there. There's more things than just fixing your third pairing right-hand shot defenseman like David Savard, like you mentioned. But again, the fact that pretty much every outlet for teams talking about wanting to get a defenseman at this deadline are mentioning David Savard, and that's for good reason. The dude has that pedigree. He's a winning style of player. No, he's not going to go out and notch 20 minutes for you every single night, but what he will do is he'll play on your PK, whether number 1 or probably number 2 for a lot of contending teams, and he'll just be solid. He'll block some shots, lay his body on the line, be physical come playoff time, and eat the minutes that you need him to eat. So I think he does have value, and I think people might be surprised at the offers Montreal gets, but let us know your thoughts, whether he'll go to the Leafs or somewhere else down below. David Savard trades are a hot topic right now, but we got to move on to the final topic of this video. Speaking of right-hand shot defenseman, Jesse, it's official. It's happening. David Savard was loaned to the Laval Rocket, which we were like, okay, he was already kind of practicing there. We knew he was staying with Montreal, the big club, all through this year to practice with them, to get their medical facilities, all this stuff. But they loaned him down. We're like, okay, and just a little while later, David Reinbacher will play his first game of the season tonight in Laval. Jesse, when you read this, I knew that this was coming soon. Pascal Vincent said, hey, this is coming soon, maybe next week. But to hear this coming as soon as this, tonight, by the time you're watching this video, he might be in action, right? There is something huge coming for the rest of the season. I'll get into the schedule coming in a minute, but my gosh, how exciting is it for you to get him back like 2 to 3 weeks ahead of schedule?
I thought that this season was just going to be a complete waste, and we'd have to start him in the AHL next year just for sure because of this whole season being a wash. But I mean, getting 25 plus regular season games plus the playoffs, like this is so big, obviously for his development and for the team as well. We know we have that right shot need, and with maybe some Savard trades, like Reinbacher is not going to be the one called up to the big show, just kind of coming back from injury, but he's providing a lot of depth in this organization that they really need a lot right now. So I mean, a very good team in the Laval Rocket just got a lot better, and they have not won in the history of them being a team. They have not won the Calder Cup. So Reinbacher's coming. Like the goal at this point has to be really to win that championship right now for this team. So I'm absolutely so excited to see him back. There's some people that do believe because he's got some runway that he could maybe have a good showing in the AHL. Now we know he's coming back from injury. We might need to be patient, but some people think he could have a good showing in the AHL and next year go to training camp for the Montreal Canadiens, be just so good like we know that he can, and then still make the Montreal Canadiens to begin next year. Maybe still optimistic, but I say that's still a fair take. Given the pedigree of this player, of what he can do, obviously him getting some runtime right now is going to help that case considerably.
Yeah, it's optimistic, but it's far from unrealistic, right? 25 games plus a full summer of development. He almost made the team at a training camp this year. There were talks of right. Wow, he looks like one of our best players, just so solid as we knew he could be. It's going to take him a while again to get back to that pace of NHL action. We've seen it, guys with knee injuries and lower body injuries in general. It's it takes them a while to get fully confident on their feet. And if anyone's had a knee injury, an ankle injury, whatever, it takes a while, especially if it's a significant one, to really trust that limb again. But that's why we got the best trainers in the world here. And like you said, Jesse, 25 games left in the regular season, and he's going to get a handful of playoff games as well. There's lots of runway for him to develop, but this not only has big implications on Laval, it has big implications on Montreal as well. But I also want to point this out, by the way, before I talk about that point. Laval plays so many home games from here on out. Now, this is just till the end of March. The rest of the season after that mostly is away games. But right now, as Reinbacher's coming back, I forget. I did the math earlier. It's 7 of the next 9, and I think, 12 of the next 16 games are at home. So not much travel, gets to stay around the team. That's good for him as well. But when we're talking about Laval right now, Jesse, they're in a prime position to go for the Calder Cup. They have incredible depth on their roster, great top-end talent. But bringing in a guy like Reinbacher this early at this point also gives flexibility to Montreal to maybe make some call-ups that they maybe weren't so sure about before. If they need another defenseman, say Savard gets moved out, calling up a guy like Mailloux or Engstrom or whoever it may be is going to be a lot easier knowing you have Reinbacher behind him, and that decision to like balance winning culture in Laval versus trying to push for the playoffs in Montreal is going to help a lot. But like you said too, not only is this helping Montreal short term, it's helping him long term, because getting Reinbacher this chunk of the season, there's a world he could play 30 to 40 games this year depending how the playoffs go. That alone I think would be considered a decent success, especially heading into next year, to see if he can make the club.
And that's why this is so important, actually getting to see him play, because the Montreal Canadiens still don't fully know what they have in David Reinbacher. Since we've drafted him, there's been a string of kind of some series of unfortunate events where basically he's either, getting some early injuries, he's going through some coaching changes. Again, he gets to North America finally where we think that we can see him play, only to have him injured there. So this is actually, despite some recent bad luck, we're hoping that we're turning the page on this now. The medical staff doing a great job of getting him ahead of schedule. He's going to be back playing. So this is going to be really key for him going forward to really kind of show this team who he really is. Spoiler alert, I think he can be better than expected. There's a certain kind of maturity with his game. I think that he suits the modern NHL and even what we have on this team very well. So really looking forward to seeing how he can really contribute to this organization as a whole very soon.
Yeah, like just watching his play style, like there's something that jumps out, like not that kind of guy that's going to wow you every single day with incredible offensive talent, but there's something there when you watch him where it's like, I just know I'm going to be able to trust this guy in my blue line for years to come. But hey, we'll still have to wait and see. You never know how injuries can affect guys. But let us know your thoughts down below. How pumped are you to get him back? The season's not a waste. He's going to get maybe 30 plus games this year. I'm super excited to see it. But hey, we'll just have to wait and see what he can do. We'll be keeping you guys updated here at Habs Digest. But that'll do it for this episode. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, guys. Again, most of you watching this video are still not subscribed, and we got daily Montreal Canadiens content. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.